They said there's no doubt you'll surely lose. Go ahead and sing your tune. We didn't listen, stayed right on the truth. And now we're on the right side of the news.
Good morning, Poke the Hornet's Nest. I'm Nick Gardner. I'm here with Doug Jenke and Leslie Sawyer, and they are going to argue the big, beautiful bill. 1, 2, 3, round one, let's go.
Well, I hear it's going to be a short argument, so we're then going to go into gay certifications. So
there you go. There's
fun.
a segue right there. So to clarify the folks listening, I am with Thomas Massie 1,000,000,000% that he was one of 2 Republicans who voted against the big, beautiful bill that Donald Trump and all the rhinos went for. And her and I got to talking about, that he was against it. And I said I support it completely. And so we were going to talk about why she is, I think, for the big, beautiful bill. And I am with Thomas Massie and 100% against it. So,
and I'm the referee.
There you go. Ding,
Absolutely.
ding, ding. So anyways, first off, I'll put out my little argument and then you come back. So Donald Trump will come down as probably one of the worst presidents in American history. He will single-handedly, within 8 years, add almost $20 trillion to our debt. $20 trillion in 8 years. That almost exceeds all of the presidents before him. And we can't even pay the debt now because the debt is more than the military budget at the current interest rates. And they have to refinance, I don't know what it is, $10 trillion in the next 8-10 months. And Thomas Massie's biggest reason for it was, first off, there was nothing big or beautiful about it, but it was going to add between, and this is from the Congressional Budget Office, between $2 to $6 trillion on top of the $40 trillion that we already have, and is going up $1 trillion about every 140 days. And that was the biggest reason Thomas Massie was against it, is it didn't have any cuts, which we were promised. Doge was supposed to bring us all kinds of cuts and savings. That didn't happen. And so his biggest thing was simply the fact that it slowed the train to deficit destruction, not at all, and actually sped it up. That's what I know.
So, and I've looked into it since we had this conversation a little bit, and I think that there is a lot about Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene that I think they have right more than they have wrong. And so I'm going to disagree with you on the Trump will go down as the worst president ever, because
I didn't say ever. I said he will go down as one of the worst ever.
Okay.
I don't think we can top the previous 4 years by much. And then throwing Obama's term in there, and I think that we've got a good contender for third on the spot, in my opinion.
Let me disagree with both of you. I believe Lyndon Baines Johnson's the worst president we've ever had. His Great Society ruined our society by giving out so many freebies, and it's just snowballed since then. Our country's going to hell because
I would argue you're wrong. FDR probably even beat LBJ.
You want to argue about anything against me. He's mean to me.
You got a very good candidate.
I think that you guys both bring up really good points of who our first socialist presidents were.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I went round and round with Doug LaMalfa on the big, beautiful bill while they were going
Mr.
through
Rhino,
this.
yes.
Okay. Doug, there are not many things that I am willing to die on a hill on. That is one of them.
Fair enough.
Doug had been at every single political event that I had been in since childhood.
Yeah.
He had raised me to be the political fighter that I am, and I owe more to that man than I could ever imagine. And when he passed, he was working. That's me.
Okay.
When he passed, he was working on legislation with me, because my daughter is 12 years old and the state of California says that I don't have access to her medical. So forever, I will be indebted to that man, and I love that man, and I think he's great. But there were times where I said, this doesn't make sense. Hold on. Let me ask you a question. Or, you are 7 foot freaking tall. Why are you not doing more? Stand up, be a man. And so there were times where I said, you could be doing this, right? So let me say, going into it, I was not, oh, hail all King.
Oh, and I'm not saying he's
King
100%, because some
But
rhinos actually have decent.
I will say
but
he
a
is,
lot of times, I love Kennedy, and he votes on every bad bill
right
for it.
Well, and here's the thing.
You talking John Kennedy?
Yeah.
I think Doug and his memorial was a testament to who he was, because there was not one person that can say one bad thing about him in a room full of that many people. And even Gavin the Slime Newsom showed up. So, anyway, I digress.
Back to the beautiful bill.
Talked to him in his office about it, because I was like, I don't like it. There's certain things, but there's certain things I do. Why is this contentious? And here's the thing. Our government has gotten to a point where it is so bloated and out of control that we have to have things like Doge. We have to have things like Cal Doge, even though I'm not the biggest Hilton fan in the world, because we need people to start coming in and Nick Shirleying corruption, right? And I think that that's what scares the theys of the world, is that people are coming together and we might actually take back our country. The problem is we're divided. And here's where I will agree with you on Trump, is he has taken Edelman's cash wallet, checkbook, whatever it is, that makes him the puppet of Israel, and he's making terrible decisions that cost us lots of money, when in reality all it is a ginormous ploy to divide us and spend money and fight Israel's battles. And Israel is not the Israel that we're intended to protect in the whole thing from the Bible. It has become a cash cow that is just as corrupt as every other organization and country. And it's a terrible thing, and we're fighting their battles. So I digress. I think that part, Trump has taken a very wrong turn, and that will be his undoing if he goes down in history negatively. But the intent of the Big Beautiful Bill is to put restrictions and put in the safeguards to get all of the waste off the programs. That is the intention of that bill. That is why that bill was so important. And that is why California is now saying, oh, we're in a deficit and we're having issues because HR 1 makes it to where we don't have the funding for this. Well, you have the funding for it, but you have to go through, just like the voter rolls, and take off the dead weight. And since you're not doing that, since it is not being executed to the extent that it was intended, it's not working out. And it then will contribute to a deficit.
Well, the good thing about intentions, don't you? They've paved the road to ruin. And you cannot convince me that we've got to spend an extra $4 to $6 trillion to go, quote unquote, save money. That's not how you do it. You just start cutting. And when it comes to Trump, I just read this article. I've seen it now. I've done some research, and it appears to be pretty accurately true. It's not an AI generated. Trump has made 3,600 stock trades and made $695 million in 3 months. That's Trump. Then I talked about on our last show how he made a decision that got, Eric Trump, $1.8 billion on a defense contractor from South Carolina. His crypto exchange, he was asked in an interview last year, why did he give a pardon to this Korean businessman? Turns out the Korea businessman was under investigation for all kinds of fraud, illegal activities, all kinds of stuff. The Korean businessman invested $2 billion into Trumpto thing, and the next thing you know, Trump gave him a pardon. And when the person asked him, well, why did you give him a pardon? He goes, I don't know, because Eric, my son told me to do it. Okay. I could go on Doge, the gold in the vault, the Epstein files. I could go on and on. This war is going to prove to be one of the biggest disasters in our country's history. We all stood up there and screamed when Obama gave $1.7 billion in a pallet or 3 or 5 in an airplane and dropped off in the middle of the night. And now we're looking at giving the same regime, pretty much, because nothing's changed. Let's call a spade a spade. They still have the tools. They have the enrichment. They now know they control the strait and the world, and we're going to give them access to $300 billion. $1.7 billion
Which
seems
I agree is absolutely asinine.
It's asinine.
Well, let me interrupt
so when I
in
say
here.
Trump is, the one thing he did do is he's closed down the border, but deportations are way down. wait a minute. So you close the border, promise us we're going to get these people out of our country, and that's not happening. So the people that are here, he's now effectively closed the gate behind them. And from what I have been able to find, and it's really interesting, in today's AI world, everything comes in and you're not sure what to believe. Deportations are not happening at nearly the rate they were even under Obama or Biden. And so it makes you wonder, did he really close the border? Or did he just keep in the people? So the big beautiful bill, which Trump basically used to defeat Massey with about $37 million of Israeli money. Okay, they bought the thing. The one guy who Trump should have supported to the end of the world was Massey. Massey was truly a fiscal conservative. He said, let's cut bloat. Let's get rid of these wasteful programs. And instead, Trump supported his overthrow, basically its overthrow, $37 million, most expensive congressional seat running ever, funded nearly 100% by AIPAC's Israeli things. And so the big beautiful bill is a big beautiful boondoggle. One thing that it did have that's positive, I will tell you, I learned this the other day from an investment website, is included in the fine print down there in the big beautiful bill is before, if you bought equipment for your business, 6,000 pound car if you're a professional, whatever, you used to have to do I'm trying to think what the right word is when depreciation. Now you can write it off the very year you get it. So that went from a depreciated rate to a 100% like immediate write-off for your equipment. And I don't even think the 6,000 pound thing applies much anymore. So, okay, there was something slipped in there.
There were a few.
Good thing
A broken clock's right twice a day.
And Mark Kent and I did a complete breakdown on this bill when it was going through. And the thing is, there were a lot of those types of things that were put in there as safeguards for the American people that give them protections to keep their property, to write off their property, to be able to somehow course correct from what we've gotten, which is just an overtaxed society that can't afford to live day to day.
Well, I think our tax code is 28,000 pages.
Right. Well, and when we jump into the next part of this, David Tangipa, who is one of the one of the very few fighters we have in Sacramento, he broke down the fact that all of our taxes in California just went up overnight Tuesday night because the budget got passed. And there are 5 huge ways that all of our taxes went up overnight while we were sleeping. So,
including a mileage tax, folks.
The mileage tax, there's more income tax, there's tax on your software, there's tax on your health insurance went up because we're now trying to course correct from HR 1 because the funding's not there because we never cut the fat we were supposed to cut. And now we're trying to undo it because other things were cut, like child mutilation and sterilization were cut. You can no longer use federal funding to mutilate and sterilize children. And so California says, hold my beer, let's mutilate children. We're going to give them $26 million. By the way, taxpayers, you're going to pay for that.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, when you look at the big, beautiful bill and blaming that for all the failures of the country, you have to look at every state's responsibility to do their due diligence. And when California is led by Trump derangement syndrome to the extreme that it is, I was there on Tuesday. I sat in the hearings where 3/4 of the arguments were because the big orange guy did it.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot have a functional society. So do I think Massey got railroaded and out of there because he wouldn't stand with Israel? Yes. Do I think the same thing happened to Marjorie Taylor Greene? Yes. However, was Marjorie Taylor Greene making money off of information and knowledge she had from our government?
Yes. She went in, and in the span of her short career, she increased her wealth by $26 million is what I had read, and I've tried to cross-check it, and it's kind of one of those things. It comes out, and it's hard to double cross check. But it seems to be there is some basis to the fact that she waited until she hit a tenured spot, so she got a lifetime pension for being in Congress for I think 4 years or some crazy thing. She gets a lifetime pension for a couple years.
I'd do the same thing, wouldn't you?
that's not what you went into politics for.
Right. And so for me,
Well, try and tell all our politicians that.
There we go.
for me, when looking at the integrity of who do I trust and put my stake as a constituent into trusting them to best represent me, my trust was going to be in somebody like Doug LaMalfa, who never got rich off our government.
Whoa. Hold on. I'm going to stop you there. That man got millions upon millions upon millions in farm subsidies as he railed against government welfare. So before we say Dougie didn't get rich off of the government, he got millions of dollars in farm subsidies and became very wealthy. I mean, not maybe Marjorie Green, but he wasn't a struggling, farmer who's barely making ends meet. And then
But that's not something that he instigated.
No, I'm
that
saying
was
he took
going
advantage-
years
he
and
took
years and
advantage of
years
the
before he went into office.
He took advantage of the system that was there. I will agree. Okay, he
Right.
did that.
And
but
he
my
did
point
it.
is, he took millions in farm subsidies. That's a statement of fact. And then he was going to go in there and fix people taking free stuff from the government. And it's like, wait a minute, you don't get to eat at the trough and then cut everybody else off. That's not how that works. So I would argue that great guy. I've met him a couple times myself, but to say that he didn't financially benefit from the government would be a stretch.
Well, he didn't use his position of power to
Get stock trades and that kind of stuff.
And so for me, his integrity is intact. He was the man who flew home every weekend to get on his tractor and work his ass off. And for me, that is something I can respect. And I am going to say this man represents who I am and my values. And when he says he's dove into this, and when he says this is the intention of the bill, this is the design of the bill, and if we implement it correctly, this is how it's going to save us, I'm going to listen to that. So that is where my stance on it comes from.
Fair enough.
And have we all been duped by many things? Yes. And are we seeing the type of pushback that is causing anything with good intention? Like you said, the road to hell is paved with good intention, right? So
I would have preferred that it had
nothing
hardcore.
is working out.
I would have preferred it had hardcore. We're going to do this, not intentions. And that was, I think, Massey's big issue is. Yes, it had grand. We're going to do this down the road, possibly, maybe, if we have the right people in. And instead of having some firm, like, we're going to hit this date and we're going to make this many cuts, that's where I think Massey really stood the ground and on principle said, look, this is a bad, horrible bill, not a big, beautiful bill, because it has things that we're relying on future politicians to enact. And he just knew, as did our founders, we're going to do stupid stuff for humans.
So let me throw this out there to you, because the thing is, we had an administration, and I still stand behind probably 85% of the decisions Trump's made. And I still think that he is one of the very few presidents who actually loves our country and loves the American people, which we cannot say the same about Obama and his husband, Michael. But the situation is, we were promised arrests for Epstein. We were promised mass
COVID
arrests
investigation
for corruption. We were promised answers to COVID. We were promised that
they were going to check
every
Fort Knox.
person, So promises, when we're measuring promises made and promises kept, we're on a decline that I would like to see a course correction. He's got some time. Let's course correct. But what would your thoughts be on a presidential run of something like Massey and Flynn pair up or something like that?
Well, I think actually, based on the public information I have, I mean, I don't know the men personally, so this is not like, oh, I know Nick for 20 years as he washed my window, and I know he's a good man. Based on what I know, based on the current information that I have, I think Massey would be a hell of a candidate. Get J.D. Vance the hell out of there. Forget, he is a tech guy. He is beholden to those guys, all right? Don't misread Mr. Good Looking for some great guy. He is a tech dude.
Why does everybody think he's good looking?
I don't know.
I
don't fall for him.
That was like, I swear, if he walks into this room and I'm like, I saw him speak in Reno when he was running.
Yeah.
And I was a fan because he
says the right stuff.
He seemed to be, again, somebody who loves our country, loves the people, and is there for the right intentions, right? So for me, I was like, okay, I can get behind this train, right? I read the book, I watched the movie, I'm like, I could get behind this guy. Good looking is a stretch, my friend.
Well, I'm just saying, I've seen...
what don't you like about Vance?
Well, his background is heavily in tech. He is tight with Planeteer and all those guys there. He is supporting the development of the largest surveillance state ever. The Nazis could not have made a more evil apparatus than what Trump and Vance are working on right now with Planeteer and the data collection they're doing with Israel. And that's all the people that he hung out with. It's like Vivek Ramaswamy. I thought Vivek was pretty good. But then I find out that Vivek got his schooling on George Soros' money. Like, wait a minute. He said all the right things, but the guy, here he is. It's like Scott Bessent. Trump has done it again. He's managed to surround himself with complete people of evilness. Scott Bessent was George Soros's big financial planner or controller or whatever his position was. He was high with George, and now he's controlling our money. Okay? Same thing with J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance comes in. He has a good movie. I loved it. I thought, oh, here's a guy that I can trust. And then you start doing a little bit of research and scratching and everything, and he's huge. His ass is tight with the tech people and Israel. Huge with Israel.
Well, isn't tech taking over our economy?
Well,
I mean, don't we have to embrace it, or where are we going to be if we don't embrace tech? Tech is going to destroy our economy.
Tech is going to destroy our economy because they are. I mean,
what's our economy going to be without tech?
Well.
I'm not sure you don't have manual labor jobs anymore.
I'm not sure we're going to have an economy because tech is taking it over. I mean, we could go on in a whole segment about AI and ASI and AGI.
I don't like it either. I'm just trying to make a point.
It's not matter what we like. It's happening. And now they're developing. I mean, Musk, Elon is a piece of crap as well. He, like Doge, great Doge. Well, that sure went away. And then
it hasn't. All this stuff is the result of Doge. In my opinion,
nothing has
they
changed.
were getting so many threats that they went underground. Well, nothing's changed. How about the corruption in Minnesota? How about the corruption in California that's coming to it?
Prosecutions
there
and
has been
jail
arrests
ties.
and there has been prosecutions.
Name the jail time. Name who's doing time. So Musk
I don't
is
have
Musk
that
is
at the
moving
tip of my tongue, but I have seen the headlines and I have read Cash Patel.
Car plant in the East Bay here in Northern California. He's closing it down to cars solely so he can make robots. And they have robots.
That's not right. He's closing it down because of the taxes and the restrictions that California put on his business.
He's making robots. He's going to go make robots in the same factory.
He's got one now that's going to climb Mount Everest. Did you read about that?
I'm sure he does. It's amazing what these robots can do. And so with
that's
AI,
where our economy's going, like it or not.
Okay, so people are going to lose their jobs.
Yes.
Right? Massively lose their jobs.
Yes.
There's no replacement jobs. There's nothing coming back.
That's right. So how are you going to get replacement jobs?
That's my point.
And also, it's kind of like, well, we've inserted more government to fix the homeless issue, yet our homeless issue is worse than it ever was before government got involved.
UBI,
so now we're gonna add more technology because our society's gotten smarter since having these.
Well, are you saying that the homeless problem is because of tech? The homeless problem's been going on for 50 years.
You just made a leap of judgment. No, what she's saying is government promised us a reduction.
I'll add.
There you go. She's basically saying government promised a reduction in homelessness. And the more money they've spent, the bigger the homeless problem has got.
That's because of corruption, and Doge is exposing it.
We will agree to disagree on that one. I would love to, because we were promised all kinds of prosecutions, everything else. And the guy that you sent to me, that JCM who talked about...
I just passed that on. I don't know who the hell he is.
Well, it's funny is I listened to him, because you sent me stuff, and believe it or not, I don't listen to you when we do our show, but I actually, off the show, I do listen to you. So I watched this thing that you sent to me, and I'm listening to it, and the guy, his talking points were almost verbatim what QAnon was. Okay.
Yep, I caught that also.
And QAnon, as it turns out, now it's publicly been known, was an Israeli psyop with our CIA. All
I
of that
hadn't
stuff.
heard that. Is that
Yeah,
right?
that's true. You can look it up. It's
I
true.
don't doubt it.
They put that together to egg us on, to make us think things were happening at Cuba, and there was all these military tribunals, and there was all. None of it's true. That there was a second double gonger for Zuckerberg and Bezos, and they were having all these tribunals, and there was executions happening. None of it happened. Zero happened. And that guy that you sent me the other day talked about, and it's this, and it's blah blah blah, and they're spending $500 million to expand Cuba, and there's been 47 flights, and none of it. I go, wait a minute. I've heard this one before.
Well,
you can fool me once. The second time, you better be better.
Well, and here's the thing. I think we've had overpromise, underdeliver to the point where some of us are becoming numb and people are just saying, I'm out. I'm done. Why do I keep putting myself out here to fight? And that is where I'm at, that this is unfortunate and I'm no longer going to allow any of it to divide us. So when people come to me and say, what are your thoughts on flat earth? Where are you at with it? Well, as long as it's spinning and I don't fall off of it, I don't give a I don't, because it doesn't affect anything, right? Whether it's round, it's flat, it doesn't. All it's going to do is divide our base. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to, hey, I need you to come in and do this whole thing on Israel and this person versus, no.
Yeah.
You know why? Like, oh, Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens. No.
Yeah.
I'm out. The moment you bring it up, I'm out. Why? Because it's when Charlie Kirk died, we were so united. It was like 9/11 all over again. We were proud to be Americans. I'm gonna stand for what I believe in. I'm gonna pick up Charlie's microphone and I'm gonna run and be passionate, and I'm head on into controversy and I'm gonna take it on, and we're taking back our country. We were so united. And what came out of that? Both sides pushing a narrative about Israel is exactly what came out of that, because it is the one thing that no matter how much we are passionate, we believe, we know God's got this in the end, whatever, it is the one thing that will rip you and I apart. Are we supposed to be defending Israel? Are we not supposed to be defending Israel? Is it corrupt? Is it not? Is this person who they say they are they not? Get the hell out of all of it.
Yeah.
Let it go, or we will lose our country. We will lose any chance we ever had to stand and fight. And so I think at this point, anybody who's bringing that up, anybody who's taking money, anybody who's involving themselves in any of their crusades, we need to look at and say, is the earth flat or is it round? It doesn't freaking matter. Are we going to lose our country to the people who want to elect Michael Obama? Yeah. Or are we going to save our country so that our children have something that they can be proud of?
Well, this sounds rather... Nick and I had a conversation yesterday. I think by the end of it, Nick was a little pissed off at me. I could tell by his voice.
I was not.
And he was like, I got to go. I'm like, okay. I'm a little bit further than you, and it's sad. I used to think that my country was the greatest country in the world. I traveled the world playing professional baseball, and people used to really like Americans and America. I, at my ripe old age of 60, have come to realize that we are the largest sponsor of terrorism, and we've killed more people in the last 50 years than all of the other countries put together on planet Earth, including all of the bad Muslim shit. That's not what I thought America was about. I thought we were there as the white knight guy. And then I watched our local elections, and here we are in a 2-to-1 conservative county, air quotes, by registration, and it looks like 3 liberals won.
Well,
and I mean, I know Chris has apparently a runoff. Maybe I don't know all the facts on that.
Maybe a runoff.
Maybe a runoff. But it does look like that Kevin may not have made it, and then for sure Clint looks like he didn't make it. And so we have proven locally that we are so stupid that we decided we're going to go elect the very people that have destroyed the system.
I disagree with you. We are not a Republican county anymore. The liberals have taken over. You take people like Mary Rickert and
Modi and
they claim they're
Clementi
Republicans.
and all of them.
They're not Republicans.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They get to claim it.
They get to claim it, but here's the thing.
Yeah, but when you use that as a starting point, we're a Republican county. This last election proves it. In every election for the city of Reading,
you're wrong.
Don't yell at me like that. We're not going steady.
Nick, you're wrong. Because if you look at it, Measure B passed, okay?
Yep.
And I will say,
55 to 45, I think, is the last numbers I saw.
And here's the thing.
Which is a landslide, actually.
Yeah, but the thing is,
no, but here's the thing.
That's not a
Here's the thing.
Republican liberal.
No, but
liberals
it is.
can go with that.
It is. But I'm not done. I'm not done because
Go.
Measure B passed.
Yeah.
Hilton, Bianco, whatever the drama is, that passed by like 80%. If you look at those two candidates versus everybody else, the Republican choice for governor passed by 70 to 80%. You look at Michael Gates, he won by a landslide. You look at Sonia Shaw, she won by a landslide. You look across the board, Don Wagner, I could go down the list of every single
I thought
office.
we were talking Shasta County.
Right, I am talking Shasta.
Okay.
70 to 80% these people won by. Which says we are voting conservative values, we are voting red across the board. And then when it comes to our local elections, it is not the liberals took over because you don't vote 80% for a Republican governor and then vote liberal for your locals. What happened was our side decided to eat their own, infight, cause drama, cause dissension, cause so much chaos, and not report out facts, not give accurate information. And then somebody like Aaron Resner, who has single-handedly destroyed the city of Reading, walks right into the office because she's smiling and nice and she owns a Dutch Bros. No, these people are uneducated. They're not paying attention. Our churches did not stand up and say, go vote.
Aaron Reesner has experience with
community
finances
failed.
with a big corporation like the
She
city
has
of...
experiences with finances and a big
homeless.
corporation.
And
Like Barry.
Have you seen how
And
much
in
better
4
the
years-
homeless has gotten?
Yes. And in 4 years, we're going to sit right here in this room and we're going to say, I told you so, Shasta County. However, that does none of us any good because in that time, we've taken our surplus and thrown it out the window to every nonprofit, and it's going to be a shit show.
Well, hold on. I'm going to throw in, Nick, because I want to say that there was one thing that I can say personally positive, because I'm past you. I've given up hope for saving this country. It's going to have to crash massively. That will come with some pain, a lot. Because you can't elect let's just throw a Chris Kellstrom or a Kevin Cry. It's a pebble of sand on a beach of liberal shit-tards. That's my opinion. But I will say this. One thing that I personally feel from this is I know at least the vote was honest. I know the results because Clint was running and he had to certify that he has lost. And so if nothing else, from me, I don't like the results, but I know with Clint at least they were honest. So I will say that.
We've got 2 more honest elections
So I'll say
coming
that,
up, and
but
that'll be
I
the end
know
of
that
it.
here pretty quickly. It's kind of like we're about to see what they did in L.A. And for you idiot liberals, do you really think 26,000 votes were counted and not one of them were for Spencer Pratt? Do you really think that? Now imagine for you liberals if that was flipped. There was 26,000 votes, and Karen Bass didn't get a single vote, but they all went to Spencer. You be raising holy hell. Mm-hmm. That's what's coming to Shasta County now with Joanna. It's going to come. They're going to cheat. They know how to cheat. They don't even hide it. They're brazen about it. But in this one, I don't like the results, but at least I know they were honest. So there's a positive.
Leslie, do you think the bars are going back up?
I heard a rumor from somebody that worked in the office that they were starting to install the bars. I don't know if they are.
I don't think they would do that with Clint still there.
No, I think that would be his parting gift to Joanna is here's your bars are back.
Well, I think
Good. That's a good. I hadn't thought about that. Kind of like, hey, you wanted them before? Congratulations. Here, run your corrupt
He
elections.
might put a red, white, and blue bow on it, but I think the bars are going back up.
Oh my gosh.
And California has a law now that if an election worker feels intimidated by somebody that's observing, the person observing doesn't even have to look at them, doesn't say nothing. They can have them removed. That happened to my friend Thomas.
Wow. Hey, I have a question for both of you because you're a little bit more in tune. I don't know enough to have an informed opinion, but my opinion is very. The Lamore, whatever his name is, tried to sabotage Measure B. Richard and the group got it on the ballot, did all the hard work, got it on there. It wins by a large majority, and then our BOS, or BS, if we want to call it that, are not willing to defend the will of the people. And I don't know enough, but maybe you guys know more than why. But it's like, of all the mandates we have, that one was pretty overwhelming. We want voter ID. Why is our Board of Supervisors not going to defend the citizenry of Shasta County?
So
and we might lose, for the record.
When I say, is the earth round or is it flat? And does it matter or does it divide us? That's what I feel about Measure B and Shasta County and that entire group is, I think a lot of what's going on, and I think a lot of, and here's where it's a really hard position to be in. I actually spent time on the phone with two very hardcore patriots yesterday trying to get down to the bottom of why we're divided and what happened and what decisions. And until I hear back from Chris and Kevin personally, and Kevin wasn't at the meeting, but until I hear back from members of our board why decisions were made and I have all the facts, I don't know that I can speak wholly to it. But I will say, going into that meeting, when people were like, I need you to do a video and I need you to, and we need Lex Rex, and I have sent Alex Haberbush and Lex Rex Institute to so many people across our state who are fighting tyrannical government issues because I do believe he's a good attorney. However, if the decision was, are we going to spend taxpayer money from the county of Shasta to pay this guy to represent us when this guy represented against the county of Shasta? Would you hire and spend money on the guy who just sued you 3 months ago? I don't.
If he is the best lawyer that can defend that case,
I'm just saying there might be more to the.
Well, it goes back to intentions. The intention is to have voter ID. There's an intention. We talked about the big, beautiful bill.
Get rid of mail-in ballots.
Get rid of mail-in ballots.
Right.
So the intention of Measure B, I stand behind. Okay, the people behind it, is, they got their opinions and everything else. But I think the intention, the voters all agreed that's a good thing. Statistics say that almost 80% of all voters want voter ID.
Right.
We now have it passed, and our Board of Supervisors said, we're done. I would rather they take money from the homeless population and fight this thing for something that we believe in than to support the people who are destroying our community.
I agree with you.
Then I'm going to throw out two more things.
Please.
Okay.
I'm ready to catch.
Here's the other thing going into that is, one, the Shasta Five were listed on it as, one of the named people on the suit. And they have lawsuits against the county. They've been fighting. They've been doing the whole. So again, what if because some of these decisions aren't made where we get to see and have full experience to what's going on behind the curtain. But what if the argument is, well, we would have had $400,000 to spend in defending this had we not spent $400,000 on defending these other lawsuits, the Dan Ladd, the Laura Hobbs, the
Eric McGraney, the Cup and Hopper.
Well, I mean, then at that case, if we throw that in, we're looking at millions, right? So here's, do we have the money? Is the money available? No.
We can agree to that 100%. And it's about to run out faster with Resner there.
And so here's the thing. And this is why I personally was not doing endorsements for Measure B.
Yeah.
And I mean, Mountaintop, we signed the petition. Like, if you want to have a local measure, do it. Was I going to put it on a voter guide or encourage people or put my name behind something that I know has so many cracks in the surface? No, because here's the thing. When I need to pass a bill to where parents have a right to do X, Y, and Z, I need the people of Shasta County to trust me and know that what I'm telling them is the whole truth and is accurate and something they can get behind wholly. I think with Carl DeMaio's measure coming out in November and voter ID being on the ballot in November, I think Measure B ended up being something that's going to divide our community. It's going to get people who would have been involved and excited about politics. I'm behind something. We're getting voter ID. We're doing this. Had it just been voter ID or voter ID and maybe one of the other elements, I think everybody could have got behind it. I think we would have seen it pass by like 87%. However, because we threw in so many other things that are going to cost money and could have legal ramifications and are having legal ramifications now, is that something, or is it, like you said, a big, beautiful boondoggle?
Well, I mean, again, the statistics bear out nationwide. 8 out of 10 voters want voter ID. So that's something we can be united on. Shasta County preempted the state because it is my opinion that though Carl might have something coming on, with the November ballot, the reality is, my opinion, is probably going to get killed because they're going to have Los Angeles them vote against it because it's racist and all that good crap. So the fact that Shasta County was willing to stand up like we did with Dominion and other things,
right,
and be the spear hitting the atmosphere and getting a little glowing red, I applaud them. The text of it seemed simple enough of what was there. So forget the personalities behind it. The text of it seemed to be pretty simple. Voter ID, no mail-in voting, blah, blah, because I think the statewide, it was going to lose. So that means we have to put our hands up and go, well, we tried it, we lost, but we're united.
Right, but just like Dominion,
this one
the
proved,
state's going to shut it down.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, they were trying to force a second wind farm on us. And so far, we've been able to hold that off.
Right,
okay?
and I agree.
There's a moment we have to decide, are we beholden wholly to Sacramento, or are we going to take the reins back? And that's when I said, and I stand by it, and it's not a popular position, and people, I've given up talking to people because they don't want to hear what I say. We've reached the point of no return. You've got to blow the system up to save the system, because you're not going to get enough bureaucrats, school principals, school board members out of there in a lifetime to make any change. The system has to collapse, and when it collapses, whatever it looks like, and history says it's not very pleasant, hasn't been one time. That's the only way I think we can actually save the republic. It's kind of a stage 4 cancer. You have to chemotherapy it to save the people, and I think that's where we're at in America. And I thought that Measure B was a valid attempt to be the spear going in the atmosphere, getting burned up a little bit. But I also think it might be worth fighting compared to the other crap we're dealing with.
I think it could have been. I think it could be. But again, in Shasta County, we have divided ourselves over.
Conservatives are really good at that, for the record.
And the thing is, right, like you go into it, and let's call a spade, right? We have a group of individuals who have been part of the patriotic group from the beginning, whatever. They have a radio show, and they bring Chris Kellstrom on and say, hey, let's talk shit about Joanna for an hour. Yeah. And he says, I'm not doing that. Yeah. She's an elected official. I'm an elected official. It's not appropriate. I'm not going to talk shit. Their response is, let's go tell every other patriot in the world that he is backing Joanna. He's 100% behind, and starts this rumor that, again, stage 4 cancer causes this cancer that spreads based on misinformation, and makes it to where we've now got people who have worked with Chris, seen how hard he's fought. He was in the fight with State of Jefferson and everything else 13, 15 years ago. He has been in the fight. Nobody has been working harder, longer, faster. Chris Kellstrom has been in this battle in the trenches, and nobody deserves... And
done a very good job in his term.
Yes,
done a very good job.
And so nobody deserves to have people say, that doesn't sound right, let me get all the information more. Yet, because we're Republicans, because we're conservatives, because eating our own is what we do best, we're going to believe it and spread a cancer, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we've got going, right? Then those same people get up at the board and start, Chris, and we're going to get you, and we're doing this. How do you not see a divide and a split happening, right? And so whether
it's in the book,
right,
Rules for
whether it's
Radicals,
wrong,
you split the opposition up. You have them fighting each other. So you've got this whole half of idiots. We'll just call them liberal Democrats. And then you've got a section of Republicans, and then you've got conservatives. And so the Republicans are pretty close to Democrats, but then you get the conservatives, and the goal is you get that side eating their own.
Right.
And now you've got
will.
75% of the population believe in an untruth, because these people believe anything.
Right.
Republicans want to be liked, so they will go where they think they're going to get liked, and conservatives who want truth won't do some research, and all of a sudden they'll start eating their own.
And that's where it's something like this, something like Measure B, is either going to give us a chance to say, let's all get in a room together. And this is what I would encourage. Let's all sit down in a room together, the way we did back in the Recall Modi days. And let's say our greatest enemy is the state of California.
Yep.
We voted to remove Dominion. Joanna went down there and testified against us, testified against the will of the people. Where is that outrage
And also,
level?
She testified at the state also against voter ID as well. So that's who
Right.
we're getting. That's who's going to be our register of voters.
Right.
Yeah.
Yet the amount of vitriol and hate that they're throwing on Joe Larmar and the board was not thrown on Joanna for doing that while she was in that. That's what I'm saying is we have failed because we could have united and said, here's the video of Joanna testifying against the will of the people and vote Clint Curtis.
Yep.
Very easy. There's your distinction. Yet what we did was we said, I think Chris Kellstrom's siding with an attorney, and I think Kevin is hearing parts of this, and I think we should all start fighting each other.
Yeah.
And maybe we all need to get in a room, and we all need to say, you're ugly, you're ugly, you're ugly, you're ugly. I'm mad about this, I'm mad about that, I'm mad about that. You looked at me funny. Okay, are all of our hurts off the table?
Yeah.
Are
Now,
you suggesting
how-
we get in a room with Don Duckett?
No. She said
Jeff
my butt
Gorder.
is getting bigger every meeting that I attend. And you know what? At least I'm not using some weirdo shot that's going to give me blood clots later in life to lose it. So she can have a problem with my butt, but I will not be in a room with her. I don't care.
Well, you have a song, at least it goes for you.
You know,
Yeah.
we've got all those people.
You know, the rappers rap about big butts, not little ones.
There you
so
go.
she can
they
kiss
never,
it.
They never will sit there about the skinny chicks.
Right? So the thing is,
don't like pelvic
I think
bruises.
we need to come together and we need to say, I'm hurt, I'm upset, I'm whatever. This is our common enemy. Are we going to unite over Measure B, or are we going to divide over it? Are we going to say, it happened, it's done, now let's unite over what's happening in November? I don't know what our common issue is, but we need to say, here's our enemy, define who our enemy is, and we need to unite. And if we
the
can't
problem
do
is
that, we're not.
The dilemma is, to any commonsensical person, we know without any shadow of any doubt and don't need any description of what our enemy looks like. It's liberal. It takes our kids. It forces gender mutilation. It's high taxes. It's pro-immigrant. It's pro-chaos.
Right,
it's
but we can't stand
we see
united
that.
enough to take on the big picture.
You know what I'm saying, though? So that we know what our enemy is. The dilemma is, because as conservatives, we do try to stick to some truth, some honor, some integrity, and then they throw in a little cancer cell, and it spreads. And
we take the bait every single time.
well, and that's it. And, you know, the thing is, I know when you listen to some of the newscasters, you know, the Glenn Becks and them, and they're talking about, you know, we this is not a time to do this and not a time to be violent. And this, not. It's coming whether we want it or not. There's going to be a certain moment the people of America have to do what we did in 1776. And that is, we're going to have to say enough is enough. And what, you know, keeps me up at night is the realization that I'm watching in real time Rome. And even this UFC fight, you know, at the end of Rome, it was about breads and circuses and distractions and gladiators, while debauchery, corruption, the down grading of being what was Roman, which is now American. We're letting people in that we just want to, you're American. They have no connection. They don't celebrate our holidays. They don't want to be American.
Right.
And now Trump goes and throws this UFC fight as a distraction, you know. It's weird to be alive and see that happening in real time. and see it, and the dots are there. This is not stretching. You don't need to look hard. If you just go, folks, if you want some interesting stuff, I told Nick to do this. Go look up the top 10 reasons for the fall of Rome. And you'll get a couple that are maybe not exact, but probably 7 out of 10 will be identical. And then where it says Rome, replace that with the USA. And your jaw will drop when you see that every single one is being replicated right now at a factor exponential 10 times.
I'll give you one greater. Yeah. Read your Bible, and every time you see the word Babylon, replace it with the United States.
There you go.
Because there's an entire book written about what we're going through and the fall we're going through. So I agree wholeheartedly.
And I'm not sure the elections will change that direction, in my opinion. And it's not that I've given up everything, but I've also got to the point where I am tired. I'm worn out. People don't, they ask me, what do I think? And they go, Doug, what do you think is going to happen in the housing market? It's going to crash. It's 100% guarantee it's going to crash. Now, I'm saying this and people, oh my God, every dot
I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, I don't either. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying every dot is saying this is 2008 on steroids. Every dot. Okay? But worse because the affordability is way worse. And diesel's at $7 a gallon and da-da-da. We didn't have that back in 2005. And nobody wants to hear that. And I'm just putting it out there that there are things there's momentum.
Right.
The iceberg is under the ocean, and the USS Titanic is running right into it, and it's scraping the hull slowly.
Yeah.
And we're taking on water, and nobody cares.
And here's the thing. Yeah, you're right. They're upstairs dancing to the pretty music and drinking, and they're not paying attention.
They're out in the front doing this.
Yes. So here's the thing is we are at a point where I think our system, and I sat in the Capitol building on Tuesday listening to hearings, and I had a stack this thick of bills that I went to and heard personally. That is 1/5 of one day at the Capitol. There is this much happening every day, right? We are at a point where all of it needs to be ripped out. What does our Constitution say? Let's take it back to 1776. What year better to do it than on the 250th anniversary and say, here's our new rule book.
Here's our new genuine reset.
New rule book.
Here's our genuine.
It is the Constitution. Anything else from here forward, we restart. Let's strip away all the bullshit.
Yep.
And I think we're at the point where we need to do that or we will fail. Locally, what we need to do, and I hope that the people who are going to hear the earlier parts and think, Leslie will always defend the board and then it's all gone, will give enough grace and enough knowledge to how hard I fought for this community to know my intention is not the board versus the people. If the people voted and they overwhelmingly supported it, then the board does have a duty to say, we stand by this. I don't think they're wrong on that. I think we all need to get in a room and figure it out before it's too late. Yeah. And that's my intention, is not, these people are wrong. The board is, I put them on a pedestal. No, if people knew how many times a day I tell them I disagree with something, it's just like Doug. It's just like Trump. For the greater good, I think they're doing more right than they're doing wrong.
Well,
Do I think they're perfect? No.
Well, nobody's perfect except for Nick.
Thank you. I'll take that.
I just want to make sure I throw that in there so that you got your perfect thing for the day. I've stated my opinion publicly, and I'll stand by it. People go, then would it have been better if we had elected Camel Toe? No. We would be way more divided because the cancer would have spread faster. I will give you that. But this is not what I voted for. And I wanted to.
And I think a lot of people can get behind that.
Retake our country. That's what I was promised.
And that's why I'm saying we have 2 years to ship course correct.
Well, the problem is this Iran war. I think he's going to lose the House and the Senate because it ain't over, guys. Iran is not.
I'm disappointed with the way it's turned out.
And anyway, so there's my opinion, and it's my opinion, and there it is, and it's on the record.
Here's back to Chris Kellstrom. I see where the other radio station, the state show, actually got up there and said, you're not the man you were 5 years ago. They endorsed Oxley. That's a positive because their only win is Tim Garman. You ever think about that? What have they won?
I don't know. I don't know enough on
Nothing.
that.
It's been a waste of time.
Well, maybe. But I think, again,
I like
Now,
you.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to take control of this show and say, look, we have talked about this, and you and I agree to disagree, to agree to disagree. But we had a second subject that we really wanted to talk about. So I want to get to that before we're done today.
So I'm going to say we went
we go.
way
Throw
over
that in
time.
there.
However, on voting being racist and voter ID being racist and all of this, put your cans on.
There we go.
I want you guys to listen to this clip from one of my favorite people in office. There are not a lot of politicians I can say I admire and adore, but listen to this clip. I think you're going to find it funny. And then let's talk about how racist ID is. Oh, let me unmute Mr. Tangipa.
So, in the state of California, if you are a large-scale utility company, you are mandated to set aside a certain amount of contracts for certified gay corporations and entities. Now, how do you register as a certified gay? I thought the same thing, and I wanted to make sure that my brothers weren't missing out on any money, so I went to go register them. But what I found out was that there are way more requirements to be a certified gay. You need
Do you see
proof
that?
of citizenship. You need an ID or a different form of identification.
How
to
about a
register.
home video?
You also need
No,
to have
listen.
3 potential references, or a physician's letter, or an attorney's letter, or a
3 potential references that you might be gay. That's your home video right there.
Yeah, there you
doctor's
go.
note claiming that you had some type of gender reassignment surgery, or one of the other large-scale categories like being certified by a recognized LGBTQ certification group, or receiving an award by an LGBTQ group. There are more requirements to be a certified gay than there are to vote in the state of California. Let that sink in.
Why are you gay?
Because
Okay,
Well, you know, one thing I want to point out now, the state of California insisted on having so many women on the board of directors and so many more minorities on the board of directors. Now you've got to have a couple fruits.
the thing is, he could not even say that with a straight face while knowing everything he is stating is fact.
Yep.
This is the madness we are living in.
Oh, yeah.
And again, in case you didn't know, I went to the Capitol on Tuesday. I keep saying that because 1, it was insane. And 2, we need more people to go and do it. But one of the bills was to broaden the definition of a woman to include men.
Oh, yeah.
And you know who was there fighting for that? Women's rights advocacy groups. I am a proud feminist, and I am here to say it is so bigoted to not include men in the description of women, and fighting for equal rights for women, we must include men. What are we? I got up to the microphone and I said, I'm a woman and a mom of girls, and including men takes us backward. Broadening the definition of woman takes us backward. This is insanity.
Did they bring in Arnold Schwarzenegger to make a speech about girly men?
Oh my gosh. Guys, this is what we're living in,
That's
right?
my point. That's
So
my point. We've reached a
there
point
is-
of
And this is why read your Bible, and when it talks about Babylon, say California, say America, and you will see we need to get off the couch. Every preacher should be saying, get your butt out and vote. Because when good men do nothing, evil triumphs.
for evil to prosper requires only good men to do nothing.
And that's where we're at.
That's where we're at. And it's funny is, I think I can narrow it down to what a woman is. Pop a basketball out of a part of your body, you're a woman. If you can't do that, you are a man. That makes it pretty freaking clear who is a woman. You guys have some genetic traits we don't have. That is one of them. Popping a little basketball out that grows up to be a pain in the ass qualifies you to be a woman. That should be it right there. Can you give birth? Yes, you're a woman. Now, of course, the people who want to identify, well, oh, of course can't. Really? If you've had a baby? Well, I haven't. Can you get pregnant? Well, I can't.
But I can adopt one, and I can take maternity leave.
The insanity.
Guys, I'm telling you, you can't make this stuff up.
I know.
This is what we're living in. And if you can, and I'm telling you, because again, I was there on Tuesday, I sat in 2 committee hearings with Senator Scott Wiener looking at him. And the thing is, by the end of the day, he was sitting in his seat like this with his eyes closed for about 35 minutes before he stood up and went and stood in the hallway because he didn't want to look at us anymore. Because all day we had been there combating him and fighting the things he was saying and saying, how can you look straight ahead and say this nonsense and then think that you are fighting for any type of truth? And the fact of the matter is, California didn't do their due diligence, and that slime ball, Wiener, is a weirdo, and he is going to D.C. He is now one of our new congressmen going to D.C. because California failed America. And they should have had a campaign with Smokey the Bear on the front of the cover saying, only you can save America from becoming California. And they didn't. And he is walking in there as a congressman.
Yep.
And everything's going to go to hell. If you look at the things he's doing and saying, and you say, that's what I want for my country, then you're what's wrong with America. And everybody that looks at him and says, I don't want somebody with whips and chains and straps and whatever else running my country, needs to get their ass out and vote.
Are you talking about Kamala Harris again? Whips
Always.
and chains, fishnet stockings, high heels, stilettos.
So on that happy note.
Yes, I got to get going. I've got real estate work to go do.
Hey, I've enjoyed this. One thing are we still on?
Yep.
One point I'd like to make is I wonder if we got voter ID passed and no mail-in ballots, if they would cancel it out the same way we voted out gay marriage.
Yeah, under Clinton, for the record.
Yes.
It was under Clinton.
The California voters voted against gay marriage, and the courts overturned it.
Yep.
Well, it'll probably be overturned the same way, but
Doesn't mean we can't fight.
We've got to fight. But the thing is, and John says this, we've got to unite so that we can fight another day. And if we don't unite right now, there's not going to be any fighting. Because right now, the only fight we're doing is amongst ourselves. And the state's going to win every time when that's what we do.
Well,
I certainly haven't fought with any conservatives. I've given the liberals hell.
Well, what's funny is I have conversations with people, including our old friend Leo in Thailand, who was on our radio show for about 3 months. And again, I got to the point where people don't want to. I don't want to talk to people because they ask me, "What are your opinions and what do you think about?" it? And I start to tell them, and I start to go, "Here's some facts, not how I feel. Here are some facts." And we've just reached a spot where, I don't know our republic can be saved until we have done stage 4 cancer. And
I feel you've got a point. I want to make one point. I have people ask me what I think, and I tell them, and then they start telling me what they think, and I stop them, and I said, I didn't ask what you think. Really? Well, I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
I told you what I think. You ask, bye.
Yeah. No, I just have stopped talking to people in general just because nobody wants to know what's going on in the housing market. They just want to believe houses go up forever and everybody can afford it. And they want to think that, Trump's doing a great job and there's a large body of evidence suggesting he's there enriching him and his family and all his cronies and Israel while the American people are suffering massively. And
one thing you can say about Gavin Newsom, he spread all the money around. All these friends made tons of money.
Well, and Trump's doing a good job spreading the money around, but Gabby's got it all to himself, and that's another thing. Gabby's under investigation, DOJ. He goes and posts a video. My money says not a thing happens to him. There you go.
Well, I'd like to take his letter to President Trump requesting his FOIA information letter. I would really like to take that, copy and paste it onto Mountaintop Media letterhead, and change it to Gavin Newsom and change the different things we're looking for to fire aid, PG&E ties, You know,
his wife is involved in nonprofits that have just embezzled
all of
tons
it,
of money.
right? All of it.
And they've just added on
And
a
then
whole
send
bunch
it
of
right
fees
back.
if you want to get a FOIA request in.
Oh, I know.
mean, large fees.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So-
nobody's got a time clock. So
And the
it's kind
problem
of
is-
like hiring a lawyer.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we can't, you know, like you were saying, one of the things you started to show out with is all the new tax things that are coming down the pike. And people ask me about, you know, are you going to leave California? I love where we live. I say this when I talk to clients who come from out of the area. I say, I think we live on the best absolute pinprick spot on planet Earth. We have great weather. We have low humidity. We're 3 hours from the ocean. We got a ski area if it snows. We've got big mountains. We got big lakes. We're 2.5, 3 hours from crime and criminality in big cities. And we've got a river running through our city. And I think we live in the best spot, but it's the politics that are making it unbearable. And the problem is we can't stop it until it hits the fan. That's my opinion, because they just keep winning more and more, and they keep doing more, and we just keep taking the 1,000 cuts.
And what will help us is if we can get people listening to conservative media. Shasta Scout and a Record Searchlight, they ought to be put in jail.
Well,
They're
Shasta
horrible.
Scout was funded by George Soros.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that came out during Doge's first investigation because their funding comes from that empty building in Ukiah. So, you know, do your research before taking something as gospel truth.
Oh,
you
boy,
go.
and I'll tell you what, there's one of the main reasons Clint Curtis got beat. I mean, day after day after day, they came up with some bullshit story about what
But
a
you know what?
rotten
If you're
lowdown-
stupid enough to listen to that and read that and take that as your news, you're also probably somebody who gets your national news from TikTok. So.
Well, I was gonna say, you know, the four major
So
networks.
what you're saying is we should-
CNN, the Communist News Network, the mostly BS, nothing but crap. Always bull crap. If you're getting your news from those, and that's a large percentage of our population between those four channels. Not to throw in political and everything else, but those four channels is the Shasta Scout on steroids.
So you guys agree with me there should be an intelligence test before you can vote.
I wouldn't make it.
I wonder how that would pass.
I wouldn't
How would
do
that
well.
go?
I wouldn't do
That's
well.
really racist and homophobic.
And I'm damn proud of it.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right.